You are live with A Tribe Called Up, Sylvana Roberson.
And Domingo Beltran.
Y'all dead ass? Ready?
Oh, I was gonna start too. All right.
Action.
Did you guys recognize that?
It looked pretty familiar, right?
You know what it's called? It actually has a name.
It's the code switch, and this is the code switch episode. All right, so okay, what is the code switch? Let me ask you first.
Okay.
Wait, what's the code switch? Because I've seen a lot of things about it. There's been podcasts, and a lot of people speak on the code switch. This is actually a popular content.
Yeah.
So, what is the code switch?
Okay, to me, there are three types of code switching.
Okay.
There is your familiar culture speak, so like how you speak amongst your friends. Mm-hmm. That's the slang. Mm-hmm. Yo, what up? What's good? What's goody? Oh, all that. Mm-hmm. That's a code switch for how you speak amongst your peers.
Right.
Then you have what I call a work voice or professional voice, where you use formal language. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then you have the last, which is what I view as the most problematic code switch, mm-hmm. and that's when you actually change your inflections to sound like what is coined as a white voice, but really what it is this thing called standard American English.
I think with me, that's true. Mm-hmm. And the way that I learned to stop doing it, like the third one, mm-hmm. is because I started to feel like, wait, who the hell was that?
Right.
Like, what, like, I'm starting to make myself uncomfortable. I'm like, yeah, this is not, what am I doing this for? And the reason was I was doing it for other people.
Absolutely.
I wanted to make other people not feel intimidated by talking a certain way, mm-hmm. or maneuvering a certain way, putting my tongue a certain way when I say words. Mm-hmm. I was trying to not be intimidating because that's what the New York accent is kind of viewed as. Yes. Intimidating, aggressive.
Yes.
But to me, it's kind of endearing. I'm like, oh, give me a hug, you from New York? Like,
yeah. Shout outs to the great folks over at NPR on the podcast called The Code Switch.
Yes.
They cover an array of topics, and in doing our research for this quick episode, I took a lot of information from them. So the history of the code switch is basically that some linguist who was given the authority to coin what a standard American English accent should be, got it from his own backyard. He's from Ohio, and at one point, you know, the New York rich accent would when people would be like, "wah," and mm-hmm. things like that, mm-hmm. like that old English, old New York, that was actually the affluent accent. Mm-hmm. But he did away with that, and then he coined this way of speaking from an Ohio Midwestern accent, and then NBC actually bought into it and trained all of their news anchors and anyone on that station, which was most popular for a very long time, to speak in this manner. And so that's how we got this, what's called this, why are you talking so white? So I had to make it a point not to correct my own son and my mm-hmm. own peers when they say, why are you talking white? And people would be like, oh, what's white? No. It is that. That mm-hmm. is what it is, because unfortunately, mm-hmm. this standard American accent is synonymous with white, suburban, non-threatening men. This is how we have to actually get educated on the background of these things so that we at least know what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, but for people like us, how do we determine how much of the code switch we apply and mm-hmm. how much we don't? Where is that line?
Unfortunately, I feel like there is a line, but it's not enough. Mm-hmm. New Yorkers and urban professionals, mm-hmm. no matter how much we try to speak professionally, if we still have our accent, there is going to be an indoctrinated discrimination and bias against you, period. Unless you are able to switch your accent, your complete accent, to sound like those at the top, those white men that are in charge at the boardroom, the white men that are on the anchors, the white president right now. If you don't speak like that, even if you're Southern, mm-hmm. They change. White people, mm-hmm. guys, white people code switch too. Mm-hmm. From the South, they change mm-hmm. to sound like this Midwestern. But especially if you're a person of color, a Latina, a Asian, you are going to get discriminated against no matter what, unfortunately. So that's why people cross the line. But really, we need to actually start challenging that.
Right. I think that's the place that I'm at now, challenging it, telling myself, you know, I see the people around me and how they speak, and then in the professional environment, they might change it up. And it's like, but how much of that do I do, and how much do I need to challenge in order for you to realize, oh, wait, he does sound this way, but he's still pretty educated. He's articulated enough. He gets his point across, you know, because I don't judge people. What you judging me for?
Yeah, unfortunately. And we need to start calling people out on it. If you are in the classroom as a teacher and you want to call out your students for using slang, be sure that you're not calling them out because they're using slang or that they just sound black. They just are not sounding like this Midwestern standard accent. Be cognizant of what you're doing, you know, as persons in authority. So as us urban professionals that are coming in, we need to, when we are training or when we are interviewing, make sure that we're not implicating or putting on those biases that we have received, because a lot of us change who we are to fit in, because like I said, it's just not enough.
It's true. Like somebody would say, oh, I had to change how I talk, and you think you could talk like that? No, like we do things a certain way here. And to be honest, I mean, there has to be a confident part within you to not really care that much, because we can't satisfy everybody.
So what experiences have you had at work where you sort of were tempted to adopt this standard English accent, aka talking white, but then decided not to? And did you suffer any consequences?
Oh, no, I don't suffer consequences, because now I'm already looked at as that person who's going to challenge things and going to say, oh, Black Lives Matter, or what did you mean by that? You know, I'm that person now. I'm that person in the workplace. So I'm kind of viewed as the agitator or something, but I'd rather be that than to just fall behind the waistline or kind of just to be viewed like everyone else. There's the line for me is sacrificing myself. I can't do that.
Wow.
When I started to feel like this is affecting me in a negative way because I'm not present in this. Where am I? Where is Justin? Where did he go? Like that's where I had to draw the line. And nobody cares about how they make you feel when they speak a certain way.
It's true.
Okay, I feel a way about Midwestern white men and how they talk. It's kind of like, you sure? But they don't care. They still gonna talk like that.
Right. And when these folks were interviewed in Cleveland, Ohio about their inflections, they said that, oh, we have a neutral tone. Somebody told them along the way that the way they speak is neutral. Why? Why isn't the way I speak neutral? And also, if you survey black folks from Ohio, they might not always sound exactly the same as a more affluent suburban Ohio person. So this lets you know right there that these are biased. These are biased. And forcing someone to speak a certain way and calling it a standard American accent when there is no American accent, because America is a melting pot. America was born on the ground of foreign individuals who didn't always even speak English. There are so many languages here. So it is kind of disgusting that we all have to fit into this whatever that doesn't even
that's not
represent.
Real. It's not real.
Yeah, it's not real.
It's an illusion, and everybody wants to invest in this illusion to make themselves feel better. Oh, if we're doing this, then we're working towards the American dream. Right. We're gonna change how we speak. We got to get this a specific kind of house, and we have to be married, or we have to whatever it is. No. It's not happening here. But there's different levels.
Yeah, there's levels to this shit.
Of code switching. Right?
Definitely.
There's different examples. Code switching is sometimes necessary and appropriate.
It is appropriate to match your environment. We can give you some examples of an okay code switch and a not okay. So we're at work and yo, what up? Is that appropriate?
No.
That's not appropriate.
You're not going to tell your boss, yo, what up? Your boss going to look at you like, what's up is you don't have a job.
But amongst your friends, you can use that, right? That's a code switch because you're culturally amongst your peers. You wouldn't use that at work. Right. So at work, what should you say?
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, hey, what's going on?
I know that's what I say. I still sound New York, but I'm being appropriate and professional.
Yeah. So the code switch extreme, which is where the bias comes in, is where jobs think that your regular professional speak is not good enough, is when you have to say things like, so we're from New York, you're like, you know, New Yorker, but they want you to say New York, but that's not how I normally talk. So that change in accent is, that linguistic discrimination is really biased, and it shouldn't be implemented. That we should make sure that employers know this. I shouldn't be asked to change my accent. I should be discriminated against because of my accent, right? Right. No one else is. If someone came from France, actually, this is great. Let me segue into Sorry to Bother You. I don't know if you guys actually saw that film. But it was all about a gentleman having to do the code switch extreme in order to prevail on the sales floor. And this happens a lot because you're over the phone and people discriminate and automatically come up with things by the way you may sound. So you calling, you sound like a black man, click. But the moment that he started using the code switch extreme, is what we'll coin it, he started getting more business. And his girlfriend, who like was hating on him for doing it, she adopted a French accent when she was in her artsy environment. That's because the French accent is looked at as high esteem. And this is why we know that it's discrimination. Because when a French person or someone from Europe comes in, they're not asked to change their accent. But when you're from New York or when you're from the inner city of any sort of neighborhood, people pick up on that immediately and want you to switch over to that Midwestern accent. So that's the one where it's not okay. If you find yourself having to do that in the workplace, you know that you're taking it to the code switch extreme.
Right.
You're no longer matching your environment. Now you're matching the biases that these people in power are placing upon you in order to be successful in the workplace. You're accepting it and you're buying into it. Just like he did in Sorry to Bother You, and ultimately met his demise that way.
But so what is the moment where you decide, okay, this is how I do it, but this is how I don't? Like,
yeah.
How do you decide that? I think that it goes back. It's like they take your accent and they use that as a way to determine if you're ignorant or if you're not educated.
Linguistic stereotyping.
But as long as, and I said it before, as long as you are working on becoming a better you and not trying to be a better somebody else, right? You can't sound like a white man from the Midwest if you're not that.
Yeah, so that's when you know you're taking it too far.
As long as you are the best you that you can be confident in that no matter what place you're in. You might have to code switch. Sometimes it's appropriate. It's necessary. But do it in a way that fits and feeds your soul.
Absolutely.
Period.
If you guys have any questions or want to share experiences where you felt yourself code switching in order to succeed, or where you were told that you have to change the way you speak in order to be successful, even if it was nuanced, shoot us an email, give us your testaments, let us hear this. Leave a comment, something, because we really want to hear from you about this topic. It happens everywhere, and we want to cover it. Now it's all over in the media. They're even making movies about it. Shout out to Sorry to Bother You.
Right, that movie was good. That's another thing. He already had a kind of appropriate professional voice, and he was like, no, I got to be white.
This is what I'm telling you guys. Urban professionals using their work voice is simply not enough due to linguistic stereotyping. If you feel that you fell victim to this, please give us a shout out at Urban Professionals.